Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the fuck you are, and welcome back to the 48 Laws of Power, a best-selling book by author Robert Greene discussion series. I, Darth Hideous, am your host as always, and today we will be discussing the 30th law. That's right, we've made it all the way to 30. Without further ado, let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Small Mousin, good afternoon. I mean, probably good morning, afternoon. Cat Ninja, Firsty, my guy. Good to see you all. Everybody on the Rumble side, which is Firsty and also Cat Ninja. Good to see you as well. Over there on the other side of things. Yep, Law 30. I never would have imagined that we would get this far. Of course, when I started this series, I never would have imagined that it would take this long. But Law 30 is make your accomplishments seem effortless. And I think we're doing so. I think we're doing well to do that. We're accomplishing getting through this book and making it appear, at least to the average person, as effortless. So, let's bring it up, shall we? Boop, boop. Law 30. Man, oh man, 6 weeks, yeah, about 5.5. We will see at the current rate. But yeah, about a month and a half, we should be done with it. Thank goodness. Morning coffee. So, how do we think about this law? Yeah, 36 weeks is a cakewalk, but like, how do you make achievements seem effortless? I know I just like try to show people the end result and not all the shit that goes into it because, well, if people see why would you want to make your achievements seem effortless? That's probably a better question than how. Why would you care to do such a thing? That is the question. What benefit do you get? You don't want to see how the sausage is made? Boop. Uh, that makes sense. I mean, if you show the work, then yeah, but I mean, then people would know that like you're willing to put in the work to get the thing done. So like that would be, in my assessment, of some benefit to people for people to know just like not only how hard you're willing to work, but how capable you are at accomplishing your missions. But anyway, it says as follows. Law 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Judgment. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. All the toil and practice that go into them, and also all the clever tricks, must be concealed. When you act, Act effortless, a- act effortlessly as if you could do much more. Avoid the temptation of revealing how hard you work. It only raises questions. Teach no one your tricks, or they will be used against you. Aha! Don't do that. No, don't. Definitely don't click that button. Oh, yeah. 100% came together on its own. No big deal. Boop. Effortlessly switching between and not clicking the big X button on the StreamYard studio that uh, did ever lifestyle mommy blogger read this because that stuff is on. Yeah, I don't think. I think their point is to make mommy lifestyle blogging like make being a mom, which is like the OG babysitter, like that's supposed to look like such a hard job. It's like, well, if animals can do it, if a dog can be a mom, how much smarter are we than they? And they do so very competently. Hold on, I've got people tagging me and shit. Ugh, fucking hands. I blame First Shot for that. Anywho, but I kind of understand what they're getting at here because you don't want people to know, like, if you did a thing, you want people to have the perception that that thing was very easy and that you could do many more things. That'll keep them on edge and that'll make them not want to challenge you. But mom work is hard, so why make it look easy? Come on. Ah, come on now. Yeah. Being a stay-at-home mom is hard. That's why it pays $0. Just saying. I'm just saying. The actual value of it is much more than that, but I'm just giving you a hard time. This is a long one. I think I will read this once we're finished with the chapter, the Kano Tenyu Master Artist. But first, let's get into Observance of the Law 1. And I love it when they put a counter on the observances of the law. By the way, y'all, just a heads up, I have been looking forward into the book. They just get like on average longer and longer after like 25. The laws just get longer and fucking longer. So we're gonna make it look effortless though. Ah, observance of the law 1. The Japanese tea ceremony called cha no yu, hot water for tea, has origins in ancient times, but it reached its peak of refinement in the 16th century under its most renowned practitioner, Sen no Rikyu. Although not from a noble family, Rikyu rose to great power, becoming the preferred tea master of the Emperor Hideyoshi and an important advisor on aesthetic and even political matters. For Rikyu, the secret of success consisted in appearing natural, concealing the effort behind one's work. One day, Rikyu and his son went to an acquaintance's house for a tea ceremony. On the way in, the son remarked that the lovely antique looking gate at their host's house gave it an evocatively lonely appearance. I don't think so, replied his father. It looks as though it had been brought from some mountain temple a long way off, and as if the labor required to import it must have cost a lot of money. If the owner of the house had put this much effort into one gate, it would show in his tea ceremony. And indeed, Sen no Rikyu had to leave the ceremony early, unable to endure the affectation and effort it inadvertently revealed. Okay. Uh, so apparently uh, I do not know where is the airplane. It's funny because you ask where is the bee, but if you look at it on StreamYard, it looks like an airplane. It doesn't look like a bee at all. It's kind of weird, but I have no idea where the Bijou is. Effortlessly violating the terms, I would guess. So, like, why would you leave a tea ceremony because it reveals, like, an intense level of labor? That's a weird question. On another evening, while having tea at a friend's house, Rikyu saw his host go outside, hold up a lantern in the darkness, cut a lemon off a tree, and bring it in. This charmed Rikyu. The host needed a relish for the dish he was serving and had spontaneously gone outside to get one. But when the man offered the lemon with some Osaka rice cake, Rikyu realized that he had planned the cutting of the lemon all along to go with this expensive delicacy. The gesture no longer seemed spontaneous. It was a way for the host to prove his cleverness. He had accidentally revealed how hard he was trying. Having seen enough, Rikyu politely declined the cake, excused himself, and left. Okay, so Sen no Rikyu sounds like a really rude guest, I'm not gonna lie. He's kind of striking me as a bit of an asshole. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but he seems like he doesn't like tryhards at all. And not everything is as effortless for everyone as it is for you, buddy. Just saying, asshole. Cheers. Yeah, trying is so uncool. Yep. Yeah, if anybody didn't know, first shot is cool and he doesn't try at all. Yeah, rude to have, like, to decline this cake that this guy clearly went to significant efforts to try to appear clever. Like, seems kind of rude to me. Emperor Hideyoshi once planned to visit Rikyu for a tea ceremony. On the night before he was to come, snow began to fall. Thinking quickly, Rikyu laid round cushions that fit exactly on each of the stepping stones that led through the garden to his house. Just before dawn, he rose, saw that it had stopped snowing, and carefully removed the cushions. When Hideyoshi arrived, he marveled at the simple beauty of the sight, the perfectly round stepping stones, unencumbered by snow, and noticed how it called no attention to the manner in which Rikyu had accomplished it, but only to the polite gesture itself. So he literally just like what it sounds like is he went cushion by cushion, stepping in the empty spaces so that he didn't even leave footprints in the snow, chasing down these cushions that he covered his stones with, but not overdone. Like it wasn't freshly shoveled, clearly, because all the other snow was undisturbed. So it's like, oh, the stepping stones are just fine, working as intended. After Senno Rikyu died, his ideas had a profound influence on the practice of the tea ceremony. The Tokugawa shogun Yorinobu, son of the great emperor Ieyasu, was a student of Rikyu's teachings. In his garden, he had a stone lantern made by a famous master, and Lord Sakai Tadakatsu asked if he could come by one day to see it. Yorinobu replied that he would be honored and commanded his gardeners to put everything in order for the visit. These gardeners, unfamiliar with the precepts of Chao no Yu, thought the stone lantern misshapen, its windows being too small for the present taste. They had a local workman enlarge the windows. Oh, this doesn't sound good. A few days before Lord Sakai's visit, Yorinobu toured the garden. When he saw the altered windows, he exploded with rage. Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Like, ready to impale on his sword the fool who had ruined the lantern, upsetting its natural grace and destroying the whole purpose of Lord Sakai's visit. Oh boy, you're gonna fall on a sword. Boop. It's not gonna be good. Uh-huh. Good morning slash afternoon, Mr. Squabble. I would be honored to visit a certain garden. Would that be the garden of the rose beast and small mousen? Because I mean, if you were to visit my garden, you would see that it appears effortless because I literally don't do much out there anymore. So if it looks like my garden is growing a little wild, it's because it is. Feng Shui? You mean Feng Shui? I can't read. Reading requires effort, and I'm making this appear effortless. When Yorinobu calmed down, however, he remembered that he had originally bought two of the lanterns, and that the second one was in his garden on the island of Kishu. At great expense, he hired a whaleboat and the finest rowers he could find, ordering them to bring the lantern to him within 2 days, a difficult feat at best. But the sailors rowed day and night, and with the luck of a good wind, they arrived just in time. To Yorinobu's delight, the stone lantern was more magnificent than the first, for it had stood untouched for 20 years in a bamboo thicket, acquiring a brilliant antique appearance and a delicate covering of moss. When Lord Sakai arrived later that same day, he was awed by the lantern, which was more magnificent than he had imagined, so graceful and at one with the elements. Fortunately, he had no idea what time and effort it had cost Yorinobu to create this sublime effect. So he literally made all the effort in the world appear effortless because I'm just not going to tell you the story of why this lantern is so cool or what I had to do to make it. So, go Hagen. Good afternoon, morning. I think it's morning in Go Hagen land. Hail, Mr. Mike Go Hagen. So, yeah, I'm still kind of confused about why making shit appear effortless is anything of value. And this story 100% did not help me at all in like Japanese people are weird. I'm just going to say that and I've always said Japanese people are weird, so this is not new. But their cultural stuff that's it's all foreign to me. You know what I mean? And I'm still like not quite with it on like why Darth is confused. You're straight, Darth. Just yeah, I know. Cheers, y'all. Darth sound effects. Okay, another long insert. Before the interpretation, we'll come back to these inserts. I found out that when I listen to the audiobook form, they read all of these at the end. So, interpretation. Maybe now we'll get some insight as to why this is important. Maybe we will. To Sen no Rikyu, the sudden appearance of something naturally, almost accidentally graceful was the height of beauty. This beauty came without warning and seemed effortless. Nature created such things by its own laws and processes, but men had to create their effects through labor and contrivance. And when they showed the effort of producing the effect was spoiled. The gate came from too far away. The cutting of the lemon looked contrived. So basically, he's offended that these things didn't just happen, that somebody made them happen. And he finds that offensive because only nature can be beautiful, apparently, and apparently the hard work of men spoils it. I guess it's kind of akin to like a magic trick, specifically. Like, once you know how the trick is performed, it kind of like ruins the trick, right? So to perform like trick feats of illusion and magic, you need to make them appear natural and effortless. You can't reveal how you did it, otherwise you ruin the magic. And I think that's kind of what this is getting at with making it appear effortless. At least that's my take on it. What do y'all think? Beep boop. Cheers. I just carry around coins in my ears. I mean, aren't you supposed to carry around coins in other people's ears so you can pull the coin out of their ear? Like, isn't that how the trick is supposed to work? I'm confused. Can't go forcing fate. Can't go forcing gate either, according to this. You will often have to use tricks and ingenuity to create your effect. The cushions in the snow, the men rowing all night. But your audience must never suspect the work or the thinking that has gone into them. Nature does not reveal its tricks, and what imitates nature by appearing effortless approximates nature's power. Yep, this is going to be one of those laws where I just think I fundamentally disagree with the pretense altogether. Speaking of disagreeing with things, I need a coffee refill. I will be back momentarily. Don't go anywhere. Talk amongst yourselves. Ta da! Effortless. Anywho, so yeah, it is kind of what they said. Uh, if you want something to appear natural, then it can't look like you did it yourself. It's like it is the magic trick. Like if people know what the cause, how the illusion works, it breaks the illusion completely. Mm. It's known as flow. Don't go against the flow. Go with it. Yes, absolutely. And if you follow the flow, you can effortlessly do things that normally would take. Oh, dear goodness, what did I just say about magic tricks and illusions, right? It's almost as if I effortlessly knew where this was going, because observance of the law 2 begins the great escape artist, Harry Houdini. I mean, who didn't see that coming? Once advertised his act as the impossible possible. And indeed, those who witnessed his dramatic escapes felt that what he did on stage contradicted common sense ideas of human capacity. I do not think Harry Houdini made a deal with the devil, sir. In fact, most of Houdini's illusions have been exposed and ruined to me. Like in current year, I watched the behind, like, never watch a behind the scenes on these things, people. It really does, like, it's like finding out that Santa Claus is actually a contrivance. It just ruins everything. So don't watch that shit. But yeah, I don't think he made a deal with the devil, although I think he was into some occult shit. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, in 1904. Chris Angel probably is actually the devil. I That dude's fucking weird. And what he does, uh I struggle I struggle to get my head around some of that, like some of the displays I've seen out of that the mind freak. Yeah, fuck out of here, dude. You're weird. One evening in 1904, an audience of 4,000 Londoners filled a theater to watch Houdini accept a challenge to escape from a pair of manacles billed as the strongest ever invented. They contained 6 sets of locks and 9 tumblers in each cuff. A Birmingham maker had spent 5 years constructing them. Experts who examined them said they had never seen anything so intricate, and this intricacy was thought to make them impossible to escape. David Blaine, are you talking about the guy who like makes tanks disappear on stage? That's David Blaine. Yes, I had a period of time where I was like I- enthralled with illusionists. Yeah, David Blaine, Harry Houdini, uh, Chris Angel, all fascinating what they do until you figure out how it's done. I still don't know how Chris Angel does the shit he does, though. Seriously. The crowd watched the expert secure the manacles on Houdini's wrists. Then the escape artist entered a black cabinet on stage. The minutes went by. The more time passed, the more certain it seemed that these manacles would be the first to defeat him. At one point, he emerged from the cabinet and asked that the cuffs be temporarily removed so that he could take off his coat. It was hot inside. The challengers refused, suspecting his request was a trick to find out how the locks worked. Undeterred and without using his hands, Houdini managed to lift the coat over his shoulders, turn it inside out, remove a penknife from his vest pocket with his teeth, and, by moving his head, cut the coat off his arms. Freed from the coat, he stepped back into the cabinet, the audience roaring with approval at his grace and dexterity. Huh, that's a funny trick, Squabob. Oh, yeah, Copperfield, too. I forgot about that guy. I've known some disillusionists uh, and delusionists. That's funny. So I think this part of the particular trick Houdini's doing here, where he cuts his coat off with a penknife, I think that has something very much to do with the whole thing. Like I don't think that that was an improvisation. I think that was planned, but we'll find out. Finally, having kept the audience waiting long enough, Houdini emerged from the cabinet a second time, now with his hands free, the manacles raised high in triumph. To this day, no one knows how he managed the escape. Although he had taken close to an hour to free himself, he never looked concerned, had shown no sign of doubt. Indeed, it seemed by the end that he had drawn out the escape as a way to heighten the drama, to make the audience worry, for there was no other sign that the performance had been anything but easy. The complaint about the heat was equally part of the act. Yeah, that's what I thought. The spectators of this and other Houdini performances must have felt he was toying with them. These manacles are nothing, he seemed to say. I could have freed myself a lot sooner and from a lot worse. And it turns out when when it came out later, like he definitely could escape a lot sooner and from a lot later. We If you know anything about Houdini, you know that there was a lot of allusion to his escapes. Over the years, Houdini escaped from the chained carcass of an embalmed sea monster, a half octopus, half whale like beast that had beached near Boston. What the hell kind of. That's not real. He had himself sealed inside an enormous envelope from which he emerged without breaking the paper. He passed through brick walls. He wriggled free from straitjackets while dangling high in the air. He leapt from bridges into icy waters, his hands manacled and his legs in chains. He had himself submerged in glass cases full of water. I've seen a couple of those. Hands padlocked while the audience watched in amazement as he worked himself free. Struggling for close to an hour, apparently without breathing, because that's possible. It's really not. Each time he seemed to court certain death, yet survived with superhuman aplomb. Meanwhile, he said nothing about his methods, gave no clues as to how he accomplished any of his tricks. Spoiler warning for anybody who doesn't know about Harry Houdini. Uh, a lot of hidden keys. That's the secret. There were a lot of hidden keys along the way. Very creative hiding places, not usually the prison wallet, but a lot of hidden keys. Hmm. I don't know an illusionist strong enough to disappear me or a mentalist strong enough to hypnotize me. Are we even sure the cat ninja that went in is the same cat ninja that came out? Are we even sure of anything? Is anything even real? I come and I go, tell me all the ways you need me. I'm not here for long, catch me or I go Houdini. I don't know the song, but it sounds familiar. Hmm. Okay, looking over to the Rumble side of things, I know someone who says he's related to Houdini. I'm not convinced. Okay, so nothing crazy going on the Rumble side. Shout out to the six watching over there. I guess now is not a good time to be doing streams on Rumble, or time of day anyway, because the random watchers are probably watching all the important shit that's on at like noon. A lot of the big creators. But thank y'all for the like six of y'all who are taking the time to visit my Rumble side. Enjoy the custom emojis. We gonna smoke one for you. Uh, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with my Rumble account, more so than my YouTube channel. So I can't wait to move everything over to Rumble. Like watching vids of Houdini gives me anxiety. Look, speaking of Houdini and making shit look effortless, a wild Shelley doth appear. Hello, Michelle. Good afternoon to you. Uh, I mean, I don't think people who like have any sort of like claustrophobic tendencies should watch freaking Houdini videos. I I I I know. I know. I was allowing you to make an effortless entrance with all the fanfare that comes with it. Good to see you. Really is. Okay. His power and reputation enhanced by their struggles with the inexplicable. That would be his audience speculating on how he did this. Perhaps the most baffling trick of all was making a 10,000-pound elephant disappear before an audience's eyes, a feat he repeated on stage for over 19 weeks. That elephant must have been going through it, man. Imagine being the elephant in this. You're just on stage and then poof, you disappeared into the ether. That elephant, and he does this to you over and over again for 19 weeks. That elephant must have gone through so much trauma. This is Lolifant abuse, y'all. Hmm. No one has ever really explained how he did this, for in the auditorium where he performed the trick, there was simply nowhere for an elephant to hide. That you know of. The effortlessness of Houdini's escapes led some to think he used occult forces. So this is that question. Was it Gohagen or was it I think it was Gohagen that brought it up. Maybe it was Squab. Or nope, it was Firsty. Sorry, Firsty. I do you think he made a deal with the devil? These people seem to think so. His superior psychic abilities giving him special control over his body. But a German escape artist named Clippini claims to know Houdini's secret. So Clippini and Houdini, he simply used elaborate gadgets. Clippini also claimed to have defeated Houdini in a handcuff challenge in Holland. That's a bold statement. Houdini did not mind all kinds of speculation floating around his methods, but he would not tolerate an outright lie, and in 1902, he challenged Clippini to a handcuff duel. Clippini accepted. Through a spy, he found out the secret word to unlock a pair of French combination lock cuffs that Houdini liked to use. His plan was to choose these cuffs to escape from on stage. This would definitively debunk Houdini. His genius simply lay in his use of mechanical gadgets. You know, as much as I've seen of Houdini's illusionist, I don't know much of the backstory. I'm sure chat knows more than I do because chat is always like the collective wisdom of the internet. Thus, they're never wrong. Or if they ever are wrong, they're not wrong also. But I don't know. I don't claim to be like the world's greatest historian on anything. I have a general knowledge of a lot of things. On the night of the challenge, just as Clippini had planned, Houdini offered him a choice of cuffs and he selected the ones with the combination lock. He was even able to disappear with them behind a screen to make a quick test and re emerged seconds later, confident of victory. Oh boy. Acting as if he sensed fraud, Houdini refused to lock Clippini in the cuffs. The two men argued and began to fight, even wrestling with each other on stage. So they got physical? After a few minutes of this, an apparently angry, frustrated Houdini gave up and locked Clippini in the cuffs. For the next few minutes, Clippini strained to get free. Something was wrong. Minutes earlier, he had opened the cuffs behind the screen. Now the same code no longer worked. He sweated, racking his brains. Hours went by. The audience left. And finally, an exhausted and humiliated Clippini gave up and asked to be released. The cuffs that Clippini himself had opened behind the screen with the word clefs, French for keys, now clicked open only with the word fraud. Clapini never figured out how Houdini had accomplished this uncanny feat. Y'all want my guess? Yeah, I think it was this. I think while they were fisticuffing, Houdini managed to swap these cuffs for a different set identical to them. That's the most obvious answer, in my opinion. During the fisticuffs, he swapped the handcuffs. Apparently, you know Houdini's great great grandson? Well, aren't you just a knower of all the famous people there, Cat Ninja? Keep the extent of your abilities unknown. The wise man does not allow his knowledge and abilities to be sounded to the bottom. If he desires to be honored by all, he allows you to know them, but not to comprehend them. No one must know the extent of his abilities, lest he be disappointed. No one ever has an opportunity of fathoming him entirely, for guesses and doubts about the extent of his talents arouse more veneration than accurate knowledge of them, be they ever so great. Balthazar Gracian, and what my man Balthazar is referring to is like give the appearance of being far more powerful than you are, because the illusion is always stronger than the reality, and the reality leads to disillusionment very quickly. Interpretation. Although we do not know for certain how Houdini accomplished many of his most ingenious escapes, one thing is clear: it was not the occult or any kind of magic that gave him his powers, but hard work and endless practice, all of which he carefully concealed from the world. Houdini never left anything to chance. Day and night he studied the workings of locks, researched centuries old sleight of hand tricks, pored over books on mechanics, whatever he could use. Every moment not spent researching, he spent working on his body, keeping himself exceptionally limber, and learning how to control his muscles and his breathing so that he could get himself into physical positions that normal people can't. Reality is what people believe, what they want to believe. I mean, it's all perception. Early on in Houdini's career, an old Japanese performer whom he toured with taught him an ancient trick: how to swallow an ivory ball, then bring it back up. He practiced this endlessly with a small peeled potato tied to a string. Up and down, he would manipulate the potato with his throat muscles. So, everybody, deep throat jokes, all of them. Like, this, this is a disturbing fucking mental image. Uh, until they were strong enough to move it without the string. The organizers of the London Handcuff Challenge had searched Houdini's body thoroughly beforehand, but no one could check the inside of his throat, where he could have concealed small tools to help him escape. Even so, Clapini was fundamentally wrong. It was not Houdini's tools, but his practice, work, and research that made his escapes possible. Clippini, in fact, was completely outwitted by Houdini, who set the whole thing up. He let his opponent learn the code to the French cuffs. Oh my goodness. Then baited him into choosing those cuffs on stage. During the two men's tussle, the dexterous Houdini was able to change the code to FRAUD. He had spent weeks practicing this trick, but the audience saw none of the sweat and toil behind the scenes. So, yeah, he didn't switch the cuffs, he reprogrammed them while they were fighting. That's a lot more impressive. But the audience thought, and nor was Houdini ever nervous. He induced nervousness in others. He deliberately dragged out the time it would take to escape as a way of heightening the drama and making the audience squirm. His escapes from death, always graceful and easy, made him look like a Superman. As a person of power, you must research and practice endlessly before appearing in public, on stage, or anywhere else. Never expose the sweat and labor behind your poise. Some think such exposure will demonstrate their diligence and honesty. See, that's kind of where I was coming from with this. Like, I don't understand like why concealing all of this, but it actually just makes them look weaker, as if anyone who practiced and worked at it could do what they had done. So it makes you seem ordinary by showing that you can actually attain this incredible feat just by the way you obtain most incredible feats, doing the fucking work. The question is, do you create your reality or let others create it for you? I mean, I wouldn't call that magic. I would call that subversion. But we have different opinions on illusion and subversion. Or as if they weren't really up to the job. Keep your effort and your tricks to yourself, and you seem to have the grace and ease of a god. They use that statement, little g God, a lot in this book. One never sees the source of a god's power revealed. One only sees its effect. Yeah, God's power is everywhere, though, but you can't see the source of it. You will die. That's in the book. It's in the good book. Which is why I didn't say any of the throat jokes. That was the first thing that happened to me too. Boy, we're too easy. Like, come on, baited every single one of us. Mike may be from another dimension. You might be right, Squab. But we love him specifically for that reason. A line will take us hours, maybe, yet if it does not seem a moment's thought, our stitching and unstitching has been not. Adam's Curse, William Buller Yeats. Keys to power. Humanity's first notion of power came from primitive encounters with nature. The flash of lightning in the sky, a sudden flood, the speed and ferocity of a wild animal. These forces required no thinking, no planning. They awed us by their sudden appearance, their gracefulness, and their power over life and death. And still to this day, they kind of like just the pure fury and force of nature. Yeah. The sons of God. That would be us, wouldn't it? And this remains the kind of power we have always wanted to imitate. Through science and technology, we have recreated the speed and sublime power of nature, but something is missing. Our machines are noisy and jerky. They reveal their effort. Even the very best creations of technology cannot root out our admiration for things that move easily and effortlessly, things that flow like the natural course of water. Cat. Yeah, grace. That's the thing that's missing, is gracefulness. The power of children to bend us to their will comes from a kind of seductive charm that we feel in the presence of a creature less reflective and more graceful than we are. We cannot return to such a state, but if we can create the appearance of this kind of ease, we elicit in others the kind of primitive awe that nature has always evoked in humankind. Always evoke. Like, I mean, if you look at a lightning storm or a hurricane or a volcanic eruption, these things are the pure, graceful fury of nature, all the way down to like the constant moving of uh, a spring fed creek to like hot springs in the mountains, like all of this that nature does. We we try to imitate these types of furies. Do not look right at the sun or at the nuclear fusion reaction because that's the same thing. One of the first European writers to expound on this principle came from that most unnatural of environments, the Renaissance court. Oh, goodness. In the Book of the Courtier, published in 1528, Baldassare Castiglione describes the highly elaborate and codified manners of the perfect court citizen. And yet, Castiglione explains the courtier must execute these gestures with what he calls sprezzatura, the capacity to make the difficult seem easy, which we would call poise and grace in current. Yeah, no longer pure with the manipulation. I mean, one could make a case for that. The he urges the courtier to practice in all things a certain nonchalance which conceals all artistry and makes whatever one says or does seem uncontrived and effortless. We all admire the achievement of some unusual feat, But if it is accomplished naturally and gracefully, our admiration increases tenfold. Whereas to labor at one is doing and to make bones over it shows an extreme lack of grace and causes everything, whatever it's worth, to be discounted. Much of the idea of sprezzatura came from the world of art. Fucking artists, they're always fucking everything up. Why would you hate your child so much to name them bald ass R? Um, Bald ass R fuck. I don't know. Don't look directly at a mogwai after midnight on a Friday. I think that's feeding them. But I mean, it's 2024. Fuck it, might as well. Just throw them in the water and give them a sandwich. Couldn't possibly get any crazier, could it? All the great Renaissance artists carefully kept their works under wraps. Only the finished masterpiece could be shown to the public. Michelangelo forbade even popes to view his work in progress, which is a very bold thing to do in that time. To deny the pope? Yeah. A Renaissance artist was always careful to keep his studios shut to patrons and public alike, not out of fear of imitation, but because to see the making of the works would mar the magic of their effect and their studied atmosphere of ease and natural beauty. If you're a amazingly talented artist, you're most likely doing a shitload of work, like, but you don't want everybody to know that. You really don't. It does kind of ruin the illusion. The Renaissance painter Vasari, also the first great art critic, ridiculed the work of Paolo Uccello, who was obsessed with the laws of perspective. The effort Uccello spent on improving the appearance of perspective was too obvious in his work. It made his paintings ugly and labored, overwhelmed by the effort of their effects. We have the same response when we watch performers who put too much effort into their act. Seeing them trying so hard breaks the illusion. Actually, most of the really, really big YouTubers, you can see this, like, you won't notice it right away, but everybody who is like like when I say big YouTubers, I don't mean Nick Rekieta with his couple 100,000. I'm talking about people with 10, 20 million, like the Logan Pauls, the fucking Mr. Beasts of the world. They all have this like over energized, over the top, like this persona, this it's way, way, way too much. It's unnaturally like energetic, positive, and just like so high strung. And you can see it in all of them if you know to look for it. And it's kind of like it manipulates normal people's minds, but once you see like, oh God, you're try harding so much, it it breaks the illusion. Like you can see this behavior in all of them, and it's like, oh God, you all do this, you all act like this. This is crap. But yeah, go watch a really big YouTuber like a Logan Paul or a fucking Mr. Beast or those guys, even Matt from Demolition Ranch, who has got like 10 million plus. It's the way they interact with their their audience. Like it's it's a psyop, it's manipulation, but it's not effortless. Seeing them trying so hard breaks the illusion. It also makes us uncomfortable. Calm, graceful performers, on the other hand, set us at ease, creating the illusion that they are not acting, but being natural and themselves, even when everything they are doing involves labor and practice. I'm sure everybody here has seen people trying too hard when they're acting, and then it's just like it ruins the whole performance because God, you're bad. I mean, if you want to see terrible acting, go watch any of the most recent Star Wars saga, and you can see just like terrible overacting all through all of those movies. It's it's fucking awful. And that's part of why they're terrible, not just because their writing is trash, but the execution is trash all across the board because the cast is a bunch of trash fucking Amber Heard, a good example. We watch her try to act in movies and we watch her try to act on the stand and we've seen her try to act for fucking the television cameras in like the interview cameras I mean. But I will say I can't remember the name of the movie. It was one of the first things Amber Heard was ever in. It's a fighting movie and she was like some she played the girlfriend in this movie, and because she was playing a role that really was fitting to her, like ditzy dumb blonde girl, she played it perfectly. But it wasn't because she was a good actress. It's because the role was perfect for somebody of her ability. Be pretty and don't oversell it. Like just be normal. Just be you. It works. I can't remember. No, it's a really weird movie. I'm gonna Google it now because I won't back down. Never mind. That's the name of the movie. Or Never Back Down. I think it's Never Back Down. It's a really, really like low budget, uh very indie type of movie about a kid who like has anger management issues and ends up becoming a fighter and like gets into like underground MMA. It's actually not a terrible movie. I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I just thought it was fun. And it was also free on YouTube Movies, free with ads, as if we're not using Brave browser to block all of those. The idea of sprezzatura is relevant to all forms of power, for power depends vitally on appearances and the illusions you create. Your public actions are like artworks. They must have visual appeal, must create anticipation, even entertain. When you reveal the inner workings of your creation, you become just one more mortal among others. YouTubers who try too hard strike me as being manic. So you know what I'm talking about. Oh, there's a second Never Back Down? I've never seen it. Like the first one was good. Like I enjoyed it thoroughly for what it was. And they had that one guy who's the bad guy in every single movie. You know the guy I'm talking about. I can't pronounce his name, but yeah, the guy who was running the gym. Oh, Zombieland. Zombieland was a great movie. Zombieland was okay until they shot Bill Murray. Fuck out of here. Once they shot Bill Murray, they ruined the whole movie. Sweaty tryhards. And we're not even playing Call of Duty. Hold on, how many we got on the Rumble? We got 8 watching on Rumble. We have 6 watching on YouTube. Oh, don't think you saw it? Oh, well, like I said, last I knew it was available as a free movie on YouTube Movies. That's how I ended up watching it. I hadn't even realized at the time that Amber Heard was the girlfriend in that movie until I saw the fucking trial, and then it's like, "Oh, yeah, that's the same chick." And that's about the only thing I've ever seen Amber Heard in where she did a decent job. What is understandable is not awe-inspiring. That's obvious because if you know how it works, you are not impressed. We tell ourselves we could do as well if we had the money and time. Avoid the temptation of showing how clever you are. It is far more clever to conceal the mechanisms of your cleverness. Yeah. If I know how you do all the shit you do, it's not impressive to me that you do it. That makes perfect sense to me. Talleyrand, oh god, this guy again. Won't he ever go away? He just keeps appearing like a fucking magician in all the stories. Application of this concept to his daily life greatly enhanced the aura of power that surrounded him. He never liked to work too hard, so he made others do the work for him. The spying, the research, the detailed analyses, analysis, yeah, analysis, that's what we're going with. He was a good delegator. Uh, with all this labor at his disposal, he himself never seemed to strain. He followed that law number 7, the one I did with Cool Frog. Get others to do the work for you, and you take all the credit. When his spies revealed that a certain event was about to take place, he would talk in social conversation as if he sensed its imminence. The result was that people thought he was clairvoyant. If you know the future and you pretend like you see the future, people are going to think you can see the future. Duh. People are stupid, though. His short, pithy statements and witticisms always seem to summarize a situation perfectly, but they were based on much research and thought. Those in government, including Napoleon himself, Talleyrand gave the impression of immense power, an effect entirely dependent on the apparent ease with which he accomplished his feats. There is another reason for concealing your shortcuts and tricks. When you let this information out, you give people ideas they can use against you. You lose the advantages of keeping silent. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. We tend to want the world to know what we have done. We want our vanity gratified by having our hard work and cleverness applauded. We may even want sympathy for the hours it has taken to reach our point of artistry. That makes sense. Been pretty accurate at predicting it. Yeah, we need that's what it is. People seeking validation and acknowledgement. And why is that a bad thing? Learn to control this propensity to blab. Beep boop. For its effect is often the opposite of what you expected. Remember, the more mystery surrounds your actions, the more awesome your power seems. You have to be the only one who can do what you do, and the appearance of having an exclusive gift is immensely powerful. Finally, because you achieve your accomplishments with grace and ease, people believe that you could always do more if you tried harder. This elicits not only admiration, but a touch of fear. Your powers are untapped. No one can fathom their limits. Hmm. Image: the racehorse. From up close, we would see the strain, the effort to control the horse, the labored, painful breathing. But from the distance where we sit and watch, it is all gracefulness flying through the air. Keep others at a distance, and they will only see the ease with which you move. Authority: for whatever action accompanies, no matter how trivial it is not it not only reveals the skill of the person doing it, but also very often causes it to be considered far greater than it really is. This is because it makes the onlookers believe that a man who performs well with so much facility must possess even greater skill than he does. Bald ass R, yeah, bald ass R.A. Castiglione. So, yeah, if you can avoid this need for validation and acknowledgement of your hard work, you can make your hard work seem like it's not work at all. And thus, you can increase the illusion of your power by making all your moves seem effortless. Reversal. Okay, let's flip it. The secret the secrecy with which you surround your actions must seem lighthearted in spirit. A zeal to conceal your work creates an unpleasant, almost paranoid impression. You are taking the game too seriously. Houdini was careful to make the concealment of his tricks seem a game, all part of the show. Never show your work until it is finished, but if you put too much effort into keeping it under wraps, you will be like the painter Pontormo, who spent the last years of his life hiding his frescoes from the public eye and only succeeded in driving himself mad. Always keep your sense of humor about yourself. Yeah, don't like try to hide everything like a paranoid psychopath. Seriously. Yeah, happy Friday. Friday. There are also times when revealing the inner workings of your projects can prove worthwhile. It all depends on your audience's taste and on the times in which you operate. P.T. Barnum recognized that his public wanted to feel involved in his shows and that understanding his tricks delighted them, partly, perhaps, because implicitly debunking people who kept their sources of power hidden from the masses appealed to America's democratic spirit. The public also, where's that spirit now? I just want to know. Just an aside, do we have the people who have the spirit to want to like implicitly debunk people's sources of power? Can we get back to that? Thank you. The public also appreciated the showman's humor and honesty. Barnum took this to the extreme of publicizing his own humbuggery in his popular autobiography, written when his career was at its height. As long as the partial, and they do italicize this word, disclosure of tricks and techniques is carefully planned, rather than the result of an uncontrollable need to blab, it is the ultimate in cleverness. It gives the audience the illusion of being superior and involved, even while much of what you do remains concealed from them. So, a strategic reveal. I agree. Better late than never, Claire. Catching up at 2x speed, well, be careful with that. Like, we are drawing near to the close, but it is good to see you. I'm glad you could make it. Even if you are late, like you said, better than not making it at all. A magician never reveals his tricks until he does. Must have taken you hours to create the new emojis, Darth. Great job. Thank you, Cat Ninja. Sorry I'm reading the Rumble side, but I still don't know how to bring it up on stream yet. I will learn that trick later. And that is the end of the reversal. Now I will go back to the first inserts, the big ones. Kano Tenyu, Master Artist. Date Masamun once sent Date Masamun once sent for Tenyu to decorate a pair of gold screens 7 feet high. The artist said he thought black and white sketches would suit them and went home again after considering them carefully. The next morning he came early and made a large quantity of ink, into which he dipped a horseshoe he had brought with him, and then proceeded to make impressions of this all over one of the screens. Then, with a large brush, he drew a number of lines across them. Meanwhile, Masamun had come in to watch his work, and at this he could contain his irritation no longer, and muttering, "What a beastly mess!" he strode away to his own apartments. The retainers told Tenyu that he was in a very bad temper indeed. "He shouldn't look on it while I am at work, then," replied the painter. "He should wait till it is finished." Then he took up a smaller brush and dashed in touches here and there, and as he did so, the prints of the horseshoe turned into crabs, while the big broad strokes became rushes. Then he turned to the other screen and splashed drops of ink all over it, and when he added a few brush strokes here and there, they became a flight of swallows over willow trees. When Masamune saw the finished work, he was as overjoyed at the artist's skill as he had previously been annoyed at the apparent mess he was making of the screens. Chow no Yu, The Japanese Tea Ceremony by A.L. Sadler. So, yeah, you never want to see magic in the process of being made. I blame the need and denial of parental approval for many of us seeking validation as adults. Well, broad strokes sometimes lead to. Shut up, Inya. I mean, hi. Good to see you. Uh, good good afternoon to you. Glad you're here. broad broad strokes lead to crabs, y'all. That's you, bet you didn't know that. Oofed it. So yeah, we got another one here somewhere. The Wrestling Master. Even though this says Wrestling Master, there was once a wrestling master who was versed in 360 feints and holds. He took a special liking to one of his pupils, to whom he taught 359 of them over a period of time. Somehow he never got around to the last trick. As months went by, the young man became so proficient in the art that he bested everyone who dared to face him in the ring. He was so proud of his prowess that one day he boasted before the Sultan that he could readily whip his master. Oh, this is not going to go well for you, bro. Were it not out of respect for his age and gratitude for his tutelage. Oh boy, that's a bold fucking statement. I taught you all you know, but not all I know. Yes, you know where this is going, don't you? The Sultan became incensed at this irreverence and ordered an immediate match with the royal court in attendance. Oh boy, you done fucked up now. As at the gong, the youth barged forward with a lusty yell, only to be confronted with the unfamiliar 360th feint. We knew this was going to happen. The master seized his former pupil, lifted him high above his head, and flung him crashing to the ground. The Sultan and the assembly let out a loud cheer. When the Sultan asked the master how he was able to overcome such a strong opponent, the master confessed that he had reserved a secret technique for himself for just such a contingency. Then he related the lamentation of a master of archery who taught everything he knew. No one has learned archery from me, the poor fellow complained, who has not tried to use me as a butt in the end. A story of Sadai as told in The Craft of Power, R.G.H. Sue. So, does anybody here grasp why it is more behoovant to you to conceal the nature of your abilities and power than to show the effort for the validation? Because I still feel as if It's not as relevant today, but I can see situations where it's 100% not only relevant but necessary. Hoping I get 30 to 45 minutes free to enjoy this. But yeah, boop. That was Law 30. And we have made it through another one effortlessly as can be. We could do this all day. I could jump right into Law 31 right now if I wanted to. But what would we do? Speaking of what would we do, next week, Monday, like I stated previously, is the national championship game for the BCS. It is Washington versus Michigan. It is at 7:30 on Monday night, so I think I'm going to schedule next week's Law for Monday sometime around 3 to 3:30 in the afternoon to give myself plenty of time to go ahead and get it done without interfering with any of my other friends' stream time. So 3 o'clock is probably the plan for Monday when we do Law number 31. Control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. So this is going to be a manipulate the situation type of law. And I'm looking forward to that because I always like these manipulative laws. They're some of the most fun ones to break down psychologically. But yeah, probably 3 o'clock on Monday. Uh, to anybody who's watching this in the replay, if you have any further questions, as always, please put them in the comment section. Any concerns or emotional outbursts also welcomed. And 3 sounds good. Oh yeah, 3 o'clock. Okay, cool. Yeah, that works for me. So that should give me more than enough time to get the whole thing done and get everything I need ready before the game starts. So that's what we will look for Monday. Um, I don't know if I'm going to be doing anything fun and exciting on the Rumble side this weekend. We will see. It'll be a surprise. Pop up streams are always likely. But if I don't see all of you then, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you back here Monday at 3 o'clock, hopefully. If you can't make it, I understand. We play gang gang. And I love you all. Thank you all for coming. Hold on, let me check Rumble real quick. Make sure nobody has any final thoughts on the Rumble side. Uh, just first shot making boopsies. Have a great weekend, y'all. See you back here on the Monday. To the 9 watching on Rumble, to the 8 watching or 7 watching on YouTube, like everybody, smash one of the buttons, whether it be the like button or the other one. Let let the YouTube and the Rumble algorithm gods know that you were here. I will see you all in the wastelands on Monday. Take care. Hideous out.